Alright, so we're back in the garage today, going to be doing some maintenance on the WK. So a couple days ago the check engine light came on and the code that it's showing is for a oxygen or O2 sensor. So let's go check that out first of all. So to read the codes out on your vehicle, you can go to the auto parts store and they'll usually read them out for you for free, or you can get yourself a code reader. What I use is this little Bluetooth adapter. You can see there it says iCar Pro. Just bought it off of Amazon. I think it was like $30 or something. And so anyway, that plugs into the OBD2 port, which is down here under the dash. That's that plug right there. This just plugs right into there. And then you want to turn the car on to the run position, not to start it, just to the run position. Right there. All the lights should light up on the dashboard. And then what I'm using to read the codes is an app called Torque. There's a free version called Torque Lite. You can get off of the Google Play Store, or I'm assuming Apple Store as well, but I have an Android, so I'm using that. Anyway, when you first set it up, you'll have to pair it with the adapter. Mine's already paired because I've used this before. So after you have it paired, just hit the gear, go up there to fault codes, and show logged faults. And so the code I've got here is P013C. Now normally Torque will show you a description of it, but for this particular one it's like I don't know what that is. But if you click this web button here, it takes you to this website, which then gives you more information. And you probably can't read it because it's small text, but what it says there is O2 sensor slow response, rich to lean, and then the location, it says bank 2 sensor 2. And so in a V8 engine like this, so first of all, yeah, I didn't go over that, but this is a 2007 Grand Cherokee, also known as a WK, and it has the 5.7 liter Hemi V8 engine in it. So this should be similar for any other vehicle that has the Hemi V8. Your exhaust is going to be, routed slightly different depending on the vehicle, but the O2 sensors are always going to be like in the same place. What they mean between bank 1, bank 2, is bank 1 is the driver's side and bank 2 is the passenger side. And so this one said it was bank 2. And then they'll tell you sensor 1 or sensor 2, which are also called the upstream and downstream sensors. Sensor 1 is the upstream sensor, which means it's upstream of the catalytic converter. And sensor 2 is downstream or below the catalytic converter. So the one that I'm looking for is bank 2 sensor 2, which is passenger side behind the catalytic converter. Alright, so underneath the vehicle here, the Grand Cherokee has got 2 catalytic converters, one for each side. That's what these big bulges are in the exhaust pipes here. You see there's one here, and there's another one right over there. And so this far one, if you follow that pipe, that goes up to the driver's side, and then this one that's close to me, this is the passenger side one. And so I'm looking for the downstream sensor. So if you look in the exhaust pipe, right behind the catalytic converter, see that little thing right there coming out of the exhaust pipe with the wire coming off it, that is your downstream O2 sensor. And so that's the one I'm looking for, bank 2 sensor number 2. Now unfortunately things are kind of packed in tight here on this side, so I don't know how well you can see it, but there's that sensor again, and going up there the wire goes up in there somewhere. Let's see if I can shine my light up in there better. Alright, so there we go. There's where the wire goes. That wire right there going up into that plug. That's the plug for the O2 sensor. This thing to the right of my light is the transmission. And like I said, things are kind of packed in here kind of tight. So the biggest trouble I'm going to have here is trying to figure out how to get my hand in there to get that plug undone. As far as the oxygen sensor itself, I think I can get it right through there. Get a wrench on it and unscrew that. So when you're working on getting the oxygen sensors out of the exhaust, I've seen some people just use a big open-end wrench. Depends on how much clearance you got and what you can get in there. But what I like to use is this, and this is a oxygen sensor, they call it oxygen sensor crowfoot wrench, but it's specifically designed to go around the oxygen sensor. It's got that little slit in it there so that you can get the wire through it. You just kind of slip this on the top, and then an extension from a ratchet set goes into that hole right there, and that makes it a lot easier to get it out when it's in tight spaces. All right, so I don't think I'm going to be able to put the camera up in there while I get my hand in, so I'm going to try and figure out how I'm going to get my hand up in there and get that plug undone first. We'll see how that goes. All right, so as I mentioned before, I don't know who designed this thing, but it's a terrible design. The plug is way up there, and on mine it was zip tied onto some other wires there on the side of the transmission. So I managed to get some clippers up in there and cut that. You see that little tie there? I cut that so that gives me a little bit more room to work with, and hopefully can get this plug undone. So I think the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to try and take the O2 sensor out of the exhaust, and then that should allow me to move the whole thing around a little, and hopefully I can figure out how I'm going to get that plug unplugged. There's like no room in here. Everything I do is just another hurdle. It's gonna fall on my face. It's also backwards. See my problem? Yeah. Oh, yeah. I just made movement. Oh yeah. Oh, progress. Okay, now how can I get this thing off? So normally you want to have this thing unplugged when you're tying it in, when you're screwing it in or out, because it's twisting the crap out of that cord. But in this case, I'm going to take this one out, so I don't really care if I twist the crap out of that cord, I guess. So we'll see what happens. There we go. Okay. Okay, so that is free. Now I just got to see if I can get the that plug off, which is going to be the hard part. Ouch. Oh! Ah! Yay! And it's out. Holy cow. That was not fun. Now I just got to get the new one and put it in. And as they say, installation is the reverse of removal. So I'm going to want to screw the end of the new one in first so I don't twist the wire, and then somehow get that plug plugged back in. Alright, so I got my new part. This is the Bosch part number right there, 15510. Supposedly that's the one that should work for the downstream on the passenger side. So the cord on the new one seems a lot longer. I don't know if that's better or worse. Definitely I'm gonna have to figure out where to go so it doesn't rest on anything. But the plug on the end looks like it's got the same plug on the end, so that's good. So, alright, so let's see if we can get this one in. Make sure you take the plastic cap off the end of it before you try and put it in. And most of the time, yeah, you can see they come with anti-seize on them already. So you definitely want that because it makes it a lot easier to get out. But this one, as you can see, has already got the anti-seize on it, so should be good to go and ready to install. There we go. Get in the hole. There it is. There's no room to move this wrench either. There we go. Alright, so anyway, I don't even have room to move my wrench one click back. So every time I got to take this thing out, click it once, put it back in. So I'm going to do that. Okay. I think I got that tightened in sufficiently. So now I just have to figure out how to get this thing plugged back in. And I don't know, can you see? Not very well. Let me see if I can get you a better angle. Alright, so you can see the plug up in there, the little yellow on the end of it. And that's where I got to get my new plug plugged into. And then somehow figure out where to run it so it doesn't hit anything. Okay. Okay, so I got the plug lined up. I just need to squeeze somehow. And that's not super easy because it's really tight. I'm afraid if I was afraid if I moved my hand it would pop loose, and sure enough it did. So now I gotta refigure that out again. Ooh, I almost got it. There we go, come on. Oh, my hand is not small enough to fit in here. Ow! I'm like cramming my hand in spots it shouldn't go. Oh, there we go. I heard it click. Whew. Wow, that was a pain. Alright, now I just got to shove this thing up in here in such a way that it doesn't rub against the exhaust. Alright, so I got it sitting up there. It's like right behind, you can kind of see it right there, that wire. It's sitting right behind this, this is an exhaust mount, but it's just kind of sitting on there. I don't know, maybe I'll zip tie it onto that, maybe not. But it's up in there, it's resting in there. I don't think it's going anywhere because it doesn't have anywhere to go. So I think that's probably good enough. And so yeah, let me see if I can reset my code. Alright, so using torque again, and we'll wait for it to connect. It's got some status messages up at the top there. It says it's connecting to V-Link. If it doesn't want to connect right away, sometimes I find you gotta plug and unplug that little OBD2 adapter. So let's see if it'll connect now. There we go. Now it's connecting. Once those messages start changing, yeah, and then it should say connected to ECU. Okay. Alright, so we got that. So let's go in here, back into fault codes, and now we can clear logged faults. It says, yeah, make sure you should only do this if you've actually fixed something, because otherwise it, probably will come back. But we think we fixed it, so we will go ahead and clear that. Wait a few seconds. It doesn't really give you a status message with torque, but if you go back into the gear menu, back into fault codes, and say show logged faults, I always like to double check it. And then see that little pop-up at the bottom says no fault codes stored in ECU 0. So that means the codes are cleared. I can exit out of that. Alright, so I was looking at the O2 I took out of there just to see if I could tell if this was the original or not, and I think it is, because you probably can't see very well, but right on there, there's a part number, and it looks like a Chrysler part number just based on the number and like the format, because it ends with, you know, it's a big long number, it ends with AA, and a lot of theirs are like that. So that Chrysler part number is 560-290-49AA. So if you need to cross-reference it. But anyway, if this is the original one, it's not surprising that went bad. I mean, it lasted pretty good because that Jeep has got like over 160,000 miles on it. So if this is the original one, that's not bad. And with any luck, hopefully the replacement will last just that long.